So yesterday we started learning about a name Moshiach, Moshiach eyes, and Rav Shlomo was distinguishing between eyes of prophecy versus eyes of Moshiach. And the way he distinguished it was as follows. He said that prophetic eyes are really basically all about information, factual information. Prophecy is the prophet bringing us some factual information that we don't know yet. But basically, when we look at one another, when we're looking at each other with prophetic eyes, it means to say that all I'm interested in knowing some facts about you, not looking deeply. And Moshiach eyes, on the other hand, is to see much deeper, to see what's really behind what you're doing, what's really motivating me, what's really motivating you, and you think that that I know you. What else is there to know about you? Well, then that's not Mashiach eyes. That's prophetic eyes, right? That's all superficial information. Even someone that you really know, there's always something that you don't know about them. There's always something deeper, and so on. So you can, for example, he brought some examples, like Pinchas saw Zimri doing what he was doing, and he went ahead and killed him. But superficially, it just seems that he saw him doing a transgression, and he went ahead and publicly, and he went ahead and killed him because he was a zealot. But on a deeper level, Zimri saw that. Pinchas saw that Zimri was wanting to die al Kiddush Hashem. He was wanting to give his life for the sanctification of Hashem's name, so that people should realize that the Torah and the mitzvahs are to be taken seriously. Then he went on, he said, pardon?
Moshiach eyes?
Moshiach eyes. Now, this seeing deeply, as opposed to prophetic eyes.
Which is just guessing, or
just in terms of looking at information, superficial information. Now, the prophet sees, oh, you're doing this and this and this is going to lead to this. Okay, that's, or Hashem tells him something, some information. But Mashiach eyes, it means that that, for example, you see somebody stealing the bread in the store, right? Prophetic eyes are basically saying the guy is stealing. Mashiach eyes is looking at, maybe he's starving, things like that, So, then he said that basically Abraham and Moshe, when did they get their prophetic eyes? Their Mashiach eyes was it's particularly in Eretz Yisrael, or seeing Eretz Yisrael. And he goes into this a little bit, page 15, and he says, "Hadavar hachi atzufu," the saddest thing is, כשאתה נמצא בארץ ישראל, when you're in Israel, ואתה לא מסתכל עם עיני משיח, and you don't look at it with Moshiach eyes. זה סוף העולם. It's the end of the world. זה היה הפגם של המרגלים. That was the defect, that was the problem, the transgression, the problem that led to the transgression of the spies. Right? And also, for example, I'm going to give you another example of prophetic eyes versus Mashiach eyes. You see your brother, one of your fellow Jews, sitting and eating a hamburger on Yom Kippur. Okay. Do you see that he's eating a hamburger on Yom Kippur, or do you see that this is my brother? You know what I mean? Is it one or the other? It's not one or the other, but when you see him doing that, you see that this is my brother, even though, because usually, how do we identify with each other when we're doing the same thing? We agree on, we go to the same shul, we go this, we do, we vote for the same politician, etc., etc. Oh, you're my brother, But what if we don't? Do we see that you're my brother, right? So he says it's very sad when people come to Israel and they look at the land with prophetic eyes. In other words, they're looking to see, how big is the land, what's the population, how many garbage cans are there per block or whatever it is, and they're not seeing how long ago was the hotel built, how many stones are there, how big are they, how was it done. That's all prophetic eyes. That's just factual information, but they're not seeing what it really is, Speaking about the hotel, the Arabs were throwing stones over the hotel today. A woman got injured. She should be well, yeah. Also, want to dedicate the learning for the Brucha Ad Batzlata, okay, for her healing. So Rav Shlomo says, "Ani rotze losif kan od inyan." I want to add something. אתה מתקשר, אם אני מתקשר עם בן אדם, you see where I am, Ben? אם אני מתקשר עם בן אדם ברמה של נבואה, if I contact a person on the level of facts, נבואה, prophecy, כאשר הוא מעליב אותי, when he insults me, אני עצוב, it makes me sad. אבל אם בן אדם ברמה של נבואה, but if a person's on the, I'm sorry, excuse me, אבל כשאני קשור למישהו ברמת עיני משיח, אבל I'm connected on the level of Moshiach eyes, אם הוא מעליב אותי, if he insults me, אני לא יכול להפסיק לבכות, then I can't stop crying. כי זה כל כך פוגע בי, because it offends me, it hurts me so much. Understood? In other words, if my relationship with you is just pretty superficial, so if you insulted me, so you insulted me, no big deal. It makes me sad, why did you do it? But if I'm really close with you, and you do that, right? If I look at you with Moshiach eyes and you insult me, I can't stop crying, right? אני רוצה שתדעו כמה זה עמוק, I want you to realize how deep this is. הבכי, crying, הוא בבחינת ברכות תבכה בלילה. She cries at night. כל רעיה בגדו בה, because all her friends have been treacherous, not treacherous, have committed treason against her, have been false with her. כאשר יש לי קשר של עיני משיח עם מישהו, when I have a Mashiach eye connection, כשאני מסתכל עליו, when I look at that person, אני כל כך אוהב אותו, it means I love that person so much, שאני לא יכול להפסיק להסתכל עליו, that I can't stop looking at them. מבחינת עיני השם אלוקיך בא, this is in the same aspect of the eyes of Hashem constantly looking at Israel. למה כל כך קל לגרום לילדים לבכות, לילדים קטנים לבכות? Why is it so easy to make little kids cry? כי עדיין יש להם עיני משיח, because they still have Mashiach eyes. כל דבר קטן ממש משמעותי בשבילם. No, somebody left. Every little thing is so meaningful to children, right? Because they still have Mashiach eyes. לצערנו, sadly, or to our distress, ככל שהם גדלים יותר, the more they grow up, אפילו אם נעשה מהם נביאים, even if they become prophets, זה לא אותו דבר, it's not the same thing anymore. Right? Children are very sensitive because they relate so deeply. עיני משיח זה אני השם בעיתה אחישנה. Mashiach eyes is, like the verse says, I am God, at its proper time I will hurry it up. Right? And this verse is usually interpreted concerning when is Mashiach going to come, and the answer is Be'ita Achishena. This could be at the time that it's already been set, or Achishena, I will hurry it. Okay? So בנבואה לפעמים יש רגעים שבהם אני לא יודע מה לעשות. In prophecy, with prophetic eyes, superficial eyes, there are times when I don't really know what to do. אבל אם עיני משיח, what with Mashiach eyes, אני יודע בדיוק מה צריך לעשות באותו רגע. If I have Mashiach eyes, I know exactly what needs to be done right now at this moment. וירא פנחסה, and שממש ידע מה לעשות, and he knew exactly his Mashiach eyes, the eyes of Eliyahu. פנחס ראה את זמרי, ועל פי עיני נבואה זמרי עשה רע. Pinchas saw what Zimri was doing, and according to prophetic or factual eyes, Zimri was doing something bad. אבל על פי עיני משיח, with his Mashiach eyes, he saw, הוא ראה שהוא מוכן למות על קידוש השם. He saw that Zimri was ready to die for the sanctification of God's name. With that matter of the sanctification of God's name and this whole thing about Zimri being ready to die for this, so there's a teaching in, it's coming from the Zohar, this idea. You have a number of people in the last few Parshiot, actually starting with the two sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, where Nadav and Avihu offered an incense offering that they weren't commanded to do, and they died. Then we have the last week's parsha, the guy who was gathering wood on fire on Shabbos, right? And he was executed. And before that, we had the one who was cursing, and he was executed. And then we had Miriam speaking the Lashon Hara against Moshe Rabbeinu, and she got punished. And then we have the Meraglim, we have the spies, and they're severely punished as well. And now, coming up in a couple of weeks, we have Pinchas, we have Zimri, and doing, like publicly having sex with this Midianite princess, and Pinchas goes there and kills him. So it says that in this form, so understand like this, on the pshat level, on the literal level of the Torah, what you have happening here is that somebody is doing something wrong, and the judgment comes down on them. Hasidus and Kabbalah says, don't be so fast to judge these people, not about their act. Their act, we know what they did and we know what they did wrong. But don't think that these people who were actually the two sons of Aaron were very holy people. All these people that I just mentioned were actually very holy people. And why? And even Korach, this week's Parsha. So what was this about that they were doing all these different transgressions? So these were souls that were ready to die al Kiddush Hashem for the sanctification of God's name. And I mentioned this yesterday. For example, the mother tells her child, don't touch the hot stove. And the child is not listening. He's about to touch the hot stove. And the mother goes ahead and puts her hand on the hot stove. And so that the child sees what happens when you burn yourself, right? Now, did the mother put her hand on the hot stove because she wanted to get burned? No, right? She did it to teach her child a lesson. These people that did these quote unquote transgressions, they didn't do them because the guy who was gathering wood on Shabbos, the Mekosher Sheitzim, he needed wood, he didn't need wood. But he was worried that after we heard that we're not going into Israel, that people would become lax with Shabbos. So he wanted people to see if you transgress Shabbos, there's a very serious consequence. Korach wanted people to see that if you rebel against the tzaddik, against the leader, you're going to be in big trouble, etc. Miriam wanted everyone to see what happens if you speak Lashon Hara.
On a conscious level or an unconscious level?
On a conscious level. But in other words, Miriam was a prophetess. She wasn't like the kind of person like, hey Ben, tell me what's new, like the latest, like let's talk a little bit of gossip, like she wasn't like that at all, right? So what Shlomo is saying over here is like this, that with Moshiach is, right? You see deeply. You see, like what's behind what's a layer or two or deep or three deeper than behind what you see superficially. עוד דבר בעניין, באותו עניין, page 16. Now this is a little bit complicated. We're going to try to understand it. כתוב אלה מעשי בני ישראל. It says these are the journeys, the travels of the children of Israel. הזוהר הקדוש והמדרש אומרים, so the Holy Zohar and the Medrash say, אלה מעשי, these are their travels, הוא תיקון לאלה אלוהיך ישראל. That this was all about doing a fixing for the Jews having said, these are your gods, Israel. So he's going to explain. Yesh shnei inyanim. There are two things, two matters. Eile pikudei hamishkan. There's one verse that says, these are the accountings, the reckonings of the Mishkan, of all the things that we, how much was contributed towards the building of the sanctuary. Moshe Rabbeinu natan lanu et hamishkan. Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the sanctuary. Ve'ele masei b'nei Yisrael, and these are the journeys of the children of Israel. Moshe Rabbeinu natan lanu hakoach lahamshich. He gave us the energy to continue. Okay, let's explain that a little bit. Let's finish that last sentence there. Moshe Rabbeinu lo natan lanu et Eretz Yisrael mamash. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't give us Israel itself. Aval hu natan lanu et hakoach lagia l'sham. He gave us the strength to get there. So what does this mean? So first of all, this drash is based on the fact that both these phrases begin with the same word, with the word Eile. Right? The Torah is interpreted on many levels, including watching for literary clues as well. Okay? For example, in music, right? You read music also, or you just play it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you're strictly classical, right? No. Anyway, let's say you hear two different pieces of music by two different composers, but they start with the same, what do you call it, overture?
Yes.
Opening, yeah? They start with the same opening, right? So naturally, what's the first thing that you're going to think is that there has to be some kind of similarity between the two, right? Even though once they get past the overture, they may be completely different, right? But the fact that they're both starting with the same overture, that itself is already telling you that there's something in common over here. In other words,
sorry. There's an idea in literature, and it's written about a lot. You have the canon, so in like, and the canon is constantly citing itself. So like, in order to be a true author within like a canonical author, like a true author, somebody who's like really writing, not just somebody who like writes a story. You have to be citing, like you're citing everything that's ever come before. And I mean, most of it, obviously, it starts at on a biblical level anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so the fact that these two phrases over here, Eile Elohech, Eile Pikudei HaMishkan, and Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael, that they're starting with the same word, is significant. It's not significant in terms of pshat, in terms of literal interpretation, but it's significant in terms of it's like sort of like a flashing light saying, you see this word and over here and this word over there. Look at the context and look at what's being said in each part, and try to understand what's the connection between them. So we have the Mishkan, right? What does the word Mishkan actually mean? What is the root of that word?
Shochem,
Which means
dwell.
Dwell, right? Stationary, right? Mishkan comes from the word Shochem. It's the place where the Shechina, where God's Shechina is dwelling, right? What about Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael? These are the travels of the Jewish people. What does that suggest? The opposite of stationary, right? The implication of it all being that a Jew has to know how to dwell and how to travel. And Moshe Rabbeinu, right, gave us the Mishkan, he gave us the sanctuary, he gave us the way to be when you're staying in one place and dwelling there. And he also gave us the energy to keep on traveling, right? You might, like for example, Ben over here has been studying in the yeshiva for a few months now.
Yeah.
And so right now he's dwelling in the tent of Torah. Okay? At some point later on in life, he's going to be leaving that tent and going on with life in one way or another, right? And huh?
I think so.
Right? So the question is, will he? Someone's at the door. Give him a book, please. Oh, you got yours. We're on page 16. So the question is will you have, by the time that you leave the yeshiva, will you have the ability to travel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the consciousness and the knowledge that you're gaining now, right? So, for example, there was this psychologist. I think his name was Gold Silver or something like that. It's really going back to the end of the 60s. And his expertise was helping people who stutter overcome stuttering. Now, he'd have a client come in for like a 1 hour session, and the guy would be talking perfectly well. And then the doctor noticed, but as he was leaving, and the man would put his hand on the door handle, and he was about to leave the office, and he said, I'll see you next week, right? So he realized that his technique was working really well in his office, but he had to figure out how the client can take it with him into the streets, so to speak, right? So that's Eile B'Kudei HaMishkan. Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the teachings and the lessons to learn how to dwell in the Mishkan, but also Eile Masei Yisrael. He also gave us the energy to travel. Okay? So, now, you guys should have jumped on me by now, because there was another phrase with Eile that was mentioned on this page, and I didn't explain anything about that. Which one was that? He said that Eile Masei, that these are the journeys, is a tikkun for the Jews saying Eile Elohecha Yisrael. These are your gods that we said at the golden calf, right? Mm-hmm. What's the connection there? Well, the problem with the golden calf was that we were at Mount Sinai, right? And we mistakenly thought, or we were led to believe by the Satan, that Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't coming back down from the mountain, that he had died, right? And what did we do? We made a golden calf. In other words, we didn't know how to travel with Mount Sinai. Like, we thought Mount Sinai is finished. Now we got to go further, and we got to get ourselves an idol, right? Okay, it's like there was this professor of education at McGill once, the Jewish teacher training program. So he coined the term pediatric Judaism. That's parents, it's a whole. There's a lot of kids that once they get to grade 7, the parents take them out of Jewish school for various reasons. And the message to the kids is, Judaism is good as pediatric Judaism. It's fine as a child. But now that you're 12, now that you're 13, there's a real world out there, and forget the Judaism. One of my students back in those years, he was really liking the learning and everything and so on. But after the bar mitzvah, again, I was invited Shabbos morning, the grandfather took the whole family to a treifa restaurant, to an kosher restaurant. And he did it specifically. There was a catered kiddush and everything, but he specifically did it to give his grandson the message, now that you're bar mitzvah, forget about your Judaism. Just the opposite of what it's supposed to be, right? So, Eile Masei B'nai Israel, these are the journeys of the Jewish people. When it says that this is, the Zohar says this is a fixing for saying these are your gods, right? That we said after making the golden calf. In other words, we had to learn how to travel and trust God and not take along any golden calves. Okay? So, Kulam Yadim, we're on the third paragraph on page 16. Kulam Yadim, by the way, if I say something that doesn't make sense to you, like, speak up, like, don't be shy. Just because my beard is gray and a bit longer than yours and so on, doesn't mean that you have to, take everything that I say, like coming down from the mountain. If you don't understand it, if you have a question, speak up. That's how you learn. Everybody knows that Moshe Rabbeinu is buried outside of Israel, right? Moshe Rabbeinu sirev l'ikanes la'aretz ad sheMashiach yavo. Now, what's the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu is buried outside of Israel? So it's actually coming up in the next parsha, right? He hit the rock instead of speaking to the rock. You're familiar with that, right? And God says, you're not going into Israel. On a deeper level, the rabbis teach that Moshe Rabbeinu was actually refusing to go into Israel until Moshiach comes. Why? Moshe Rabbeinu lo ratzah sheyiru et haaretz b'nei nevuah. Because he didn't want that the people should see the land just with prophet eyes, factual eyes. Because he saw שאם עם ישראל ייכנס לארץ למעיני נבואה, הוא לא יישאר שם הרבה זמן. He realized that if we go in there with prophet eyes, we're not going to last very long in Israel. So אני רוצה לברך את כולנו שיהיו לנו עיני משיח, קרבה אמיתית ושנגיע לעמקות אמיתית. So I want to bless everybody that we should have Mashiach eyes, we should have true closeness, and that we should get to true depths. So, what was this last piece about? What was this? So, what is Moshe? What's happening over here? Where is this coming from? That Moshe Rabbeinu is not buried in Israel because he was waiting for Moshiach. And the truth is that the two great people were buried outside Israel. I mean, many others too, but Rachel mainly. When you go to kill Rachel, that's actually outside the biblical border of Israel.
Really?
And now it isn't, but yeah, Yaakov buried her.
Yeah.
Over there, it wasn't part of Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe Rabbeinu, and Rachel Imenu is like the mother who doesn't go into the house until all her children are in. So Rachel Imenu died outside of Israel and is buried outside of Israel because it was her way of saying to God, I'm not going in until all my children come home. Right?
Like Yirmiyahu says, Rachel is crying for her children.
That's what I was just about to quote, right? Rachel mevakal, Baneha, Rachel is crying. He heard crying in heaven, and who's crying? It's Rachel crying for her children. And and God comes and answers her. God comes and says to her, "Mini kolech mi bechi," hold your voice back from crying, because I promise you that v'shavu banim ligvulam, that the children will be coming home to their country. And Moshe Rabbeinu is the shepherd who doesn't come into the land until all his flock is in there. And since there were so many Jews that didn't make it into Israel at the time, because those who sinned were despised, etc. So it's like Moshe Rabbeinu saying, yes, but this is my flock, and I'm not going in until Moshiach comes. Because I'm not coming in until everyone in my flock is in the land.
Oh, okay. I understand that, but I don't understand. So where's Reb Shlomo going with Ene Ne'ah versus Ene Mashiach? That, like, in terms of why Moshe is
right,
buried outside.
So he's saying that you look at Moshe and you say, why is he buried outside of Israel? And you're going to look with Enei Nevuah, you're going to say it's because he hit the rock. If you have Enei Mashiach, you see that he didn't come into Israel because he's waiting for every one of his flock to enter first.
Because the Enei Mashiach sees that we're all on a personal journey. Enei Nebuah would see that we make mistakes and we can't quite get ourselves to the Holy Land. Enei Mashiach, we would look with compassion and say, look, people are working out their stuff and they're doing what they need to do, and we'll wait till they get there.
Something like that, yeah. So he says, Atem Yudim Katuv Midrash, he says in the Medrash on a pasuk on the verse, V'choshech ha'pnei tehom. And there was darkness above the abyss, above the earth. Kol ha'olam choshev shehu chashuch. Everybody thinks that it's really dark. I will tell you, but you know that it's not. How can you know how much you love a person? When you're looking at someone in the middle of the day, maybe you know him, but you don't have to love him. But when everything is dark, and still, you can still see the person in the dark. Right? You still recognize him in the dark. That is a sign that you really believe, that you really love him. As far as I'm concerned, in whatever situation it may be, I'm saying to God, there's no darkness in the world that can stop me from seeing God. Right? So he's now just explained the whole Moshiach thing from another angle. Right? In other words, to have Moshiach eyes, you have to be really close to the person, you have to be close to the land of Israel to be able to see it with Moshiach eyes. So Moshe David Hakon, Moshe David, he teaches here on Monday nights. Actually, last night he didn't teach. His wife gave birth to a baby boy yesterday.
Oh, Hashem.
So he has, I don't know if I sent it out in last week's parasha, but he has a very interesting thing. The end of last week's parasha was about tzitzis, right? And the Talmud discusses what's the earliest time in the morning that you can say Shema. It says to say Shema when you get up, meaning to say in the morning. When does the morning begin? You not only don't you have a wristwatch, you don't even have an iPhone with you, okay?
When there's enough light to see the Techelet.
So one opinion is when there's enough light to distinguish between the turquoise thread and the white threads. Another opinion says no, it has to be a bit later. You have to have enough light to distinguish between turquoise color and green. And then there's another opinion that says when you can recognize your friend 4 or 6 cubes away, I think it's 4, in the dark, and you recognize him, right? So Moshe David says like this: when can you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? When you're able to see your friend in the dark and recognize him, then you're able to say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. But if you can't see your friend in the dark, you're not on the level to say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad.
Right. Who said it?
Moshe David, I call him, the one who did the Sefer.
Right.
Okay. So it says that there was darkness over the firmament. I mean the earth. So Rav Shlomo says that that how do you know you're really close to somebody? When you can recognize them in the dark, right? אבל כשהכל חשוך ולמרות זאת אתה יכול לראות אותו. When it's dark and you see your friend, זה סימן שאתה ממש אוהב אותו. That's a sign that you ממש love him. אני בכל מצב שיהיה, אומר לקדוש ברוך הוא, as far as I'm concerned, in every situation, I tell God, שאין חושך בעולם שיכול לגרום לי להפסיק לראות אותו. I just repeated that last sentence, that there's no darkness in the world that's going to make me stop seeing him. ראיתי באחד מתורות הצדיקים, I saw in one of the teachings of the righteous, כתוב שם, it says there, אנשים הולכים יחד באמצע היום, בלי להחזיק ידיים אחד לשני. During the day, people walk together and they don't hold each other's hand. אבל בחושך, when you're walking in a really dark place, הם צריכים להחזיק ידיים, people have to hold each other's hands, right? כדי לא לאבד את הדרך so that nobody gets lost on the road. Yeah? Have you visited some of these really big caves over here? You step into these caves, and even it's so dark, even if you hold a white piece of paper in front of your face, you don't see it. And when you're walking through such a dark place, you better hold hands if you have the chance, right? So you don't want to lose the road, you don't want to lose a person. So he says, Gam b'Torat Shlomo Masbir, and also in the Shlomo teachings, page 17, he explains Shehamila Yadid, that the word Yadid, which means friend, right? Yadid means friend. So the word is written Yad, Yad, hand with hand.
That's what bear was for.
Also. Okay.
Yadida.
Yadid is a friend, yeah. And so he says that in the dark you have to hold hands like you're holding your child's hand, right? So what's the point that he's saying? The point is that that the whole idea of Moshiach is the ability to see in the dark, right? The prophetic eyes is like, it's like seeing in the light. I'm seeing this, like we learned this about Rosh Chodesh. I'm seeing the superficial, right? Prophetic eyes is I'm seeing the depth. But you have to be willing to see that way. And in order to see that way, you have to be willing to go into the dark. Okay? If you're not willing to go into the dark, then everything is going to be superficial, right? I apologize. I have a bad habit. I stay up till 2:20 at night, and then I'm a night person. So and then if on top of that, the sleep apnea kicked in, and at this time of day, I become like a herring, you know.
You have a machine?
No,
You want one?
No, I don't want it. But I know people who have. You have a machine?
I have it. I won't use it. It can happen.
Why don't you use it?
I don't need it anymore.
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Anyway, so the point that Reb Shlomo is making over here is like this. Let me give you an example. Let's say you know somebody, a friend of yours, it's in a really dark space, and you want to help them. You might have to be willing to go into that dark space with them and be there with them. The problem of going into a dark space is that you might end up being stuck there. Right? Because if you go into, so let's say somebody's really depressed, and you go into their depression, so to speak, right? You can easily become depressed yourself. And then how are you going to help them get out? So you better have a friend that you're holding on to. Now the word yedid, friend, is yad, yad, hand, hand. You better have a hand that you're holding on to. Understand? And even, healers also, like they have to be very careful. They have to be very careful that when they're like, the people who do like laying on of hands and things like that, that as they're trying to remove the illness from the patient, they have to be careful not to take it into their own body. Now, it might sound like Greek, as far as Western medicine is concerned, and but there's a lot of stuff that Western medicine thinks that they know that they don't know yet, right? It has everything to do with friendship. Health is very, very much connected with friendship. It's not just all about technical stuff, like, like, oh, we'll fix this with this pill, we'll fix this with this pill, and so on. Okay, so third line on page 17. Here's another interesting observation. So long as children have the prophetic eyes, I'm sorry, the Moshiach eyes. See, I'm really flaking out here for a few minutes. So long as children have Moshiach eyes, parents hold them by the hand. But once the children grow up, and they now have prophetic eyes, people don't hold their children's hands anymore. The more husband and wife have a connection on the level of Moshiach eyes, they hold hands with each other. But if they only have a superficial connection, hey, Chanali, I'm married, you're married to me, I'm married to you, where we have a relationship, right? It's all very nice and sweet. But where is the depth of this relationship? The wedding ceremony begins with the chosum covering the face of the bride. And he's sort of in a certain way expressing to her, he's basically saying, Ani לא רוצה להסתכל עלייך כנביא, I don't want to see you as a prophet. אני רוצה להסתכל עלייך בעיני משיח, I want to see you with Moshiach eyes. העיני משיח, אומרים, Moshiach eyes are saying, אני מכיר אותך אפילו אם כולך מכוסה. Moshiach eyes saying, I recognize you even if you're completely enrobed. אף אחד לא יודע לזהות, מי את, אבל אני תמיד אדע. You might be disguised from the whole world, nobody will recognize you, but I will always know who you are. ילדים נולדים עם עיניים סגורות. Little children are born with closed eyes, כי הם נכנסים לעולם עם עיני משיח, לא עם עיני נבואה, because they're coming into the world with Moshiach eyes rather than prophetic eyes. Okay, we'll stop over here. Anybody coming tomorrow to Rav David's music, Karabach meeting?